Someone secretly looked up her address online. What investigators discovered next shocked everyone. A camera catches everything, even in the dark, even when no one is watching. On the morning of February 1st, a doorbell camera outside a quiet home in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood of Tucson, Arizona, recorded something that would change everything. A masked figure, a black backpack, moving through the darkness toward the front door. That figure took Nancy Guthrie. Nancy is 84 years old. She lived alone in that house. She built a life in that neighborhood. She raised children who love her, and she woke up every morning in a home that was supposed to be safe. You need to understand something before we go any further. This is not just a headline. This is a real woman, and she is still missing. Savannah Guthrie, the NBC Today show anchor millions of Americans watch every morning, is Nancy's daughter. When her mother vanished, Savannah went public immediately. She begged for answers. She pleaded for her mother's safe return. The whole country started paying attention. And here is the first thing I promise you. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how one digital mistake led the FBI to a man 800 miles away, in under 48 hours. The second thing I promise you. The arrest you probably heard about, it did not solve this case. And what happened after that arrest is the part nobody is talking about. That backpack the masked figure carried? Investigators recognized it immediately. Subscribe right now. This investigation is still active, and we are covering every single development as it breaks. That detail about the backpack was only the beginning. The text. 3 days after Nancy disappeared, 2 phones buzzed. Annie Guthrie, Nancy's oldest daughter, received a message. So did Tommaso Cioni, Nancy's son-in-law. The message did not offer comfort. It did not offer information. It asked about Bitcoin. Think about what that means. Your mother is missing. You have not slept. You do not know if she is alive. And then your phone lights up with a demand for digital currency from a stranger, claiming to know where she is. That message came through a VoIP line. VoIP stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. In plain language, it means a call or text that travels through the internet instead of a normal phone network. People use it because they think it makes them invisible. It does not make them invisible. Every VoIP service connects to something real eventually. A real account, a real device, a real internet connection sitting inside someone's actual home. Investigators know exactly how to pull that thread. There was also a phone call, just 9 seconds long. Most people would dismiss a 9-second call as nothing. Trained investigators do not dismiss anything. That call connected to a number, a billing account, and a location. 9 seconds was more than enough. Here is where this case becomes remarkable. The FBI's Phoenix field office had already received more than 13,000 tips in a single month on Nancy's disappearance. This case had the full weight of federal resources behind every single lead. The Bitcoin message arrived on February 4th. Derek Kalla, 42 years old, of Hawthorne, California, was arrested on February 6th, 48 hours. From message to handcuffs. When you reach out directly to a grieving family, you do not hide. You create a straight line right back to your front door, and the FBI walked that line without hesitation. But then federal investigators said something that stopped everyone cold. 2 puzzles. Here is what the headlines got wrong. Most people read about Kalla's arrest and assumed the case broke open. It did not. Federal authorities were explicit. The messages Kalla allegedly sent had not been connected to the original ransom note. Not confirmed, not linked, separate. You are looking at 2 completely different puzzles sitting on the same table. Puzzle 1 is Derek Kalla. The Bitcoin text, the VoIP line, the federal charges. That puzzle has a name attached to it now. Puzzle 2 is the masked figure on Nancy's doorbell camera, the original ransom note sent to media outlets, the question of where Nancy Guthrie actually is. That puzzle has nothing, and this is Promise 1 delivered. Now you understand exactly how the FBI traced that digital message to a man 800 miles away. Direct contact, digital trail, 48 hours. Now here is Promise 2. Here is what nobody is talking about. That original ransom note contained language investigators found chilling. It suggested Nancy had died unintentionally. It used haunting words, that she was resting somewhere in nature. Here is what makes that note so difficult to verify. Real perpetrators include details only they could know, specific locations, specific evidence. This note did not do that, which means it could be genuine, or it could be another person inserting themselves into a high-profile case for attention. Here are 5 things investigators still cannot confirm: whether the original ransom note is genuine, who the masked figure on the doorbell camera actually is, whether Kala has any connection to the real abduction, what the phrase resting in nature truly means, where Nancy Guthrie is right now. Nancy's family has publicly acknowledged receiving a ransom note. They have said they will pay whatever is necessary. Savannah has pleaded publicly, repeatedly, with whoever is responsible. Those pleas are still unanswered. Tell me what you think right now in the comments. Do you believe that original ransom note is real, or is this another person trying to hijack this case? Investigators still do not know, and I want to hear your read on it. But then something happened inside a federal courtroom that raised a question nobody had thought to ask yet. The courtroom move. Derek Kalla stood before a federal judge and entered his plea. Not guilty. He faced 2 federal charges. First, transmitting a ransom demand across state lines. Second, using a telecommunications device to threaten and harass another person. These are serious federal offenses. They carry real consequences. Then came the move nobody expected. Kalla was released from federal custody. Not cleared, released. Under strict conditions that tell you everything about how seriously the government is treating this. He cannot contact any victim or witness connected to this case. Law enforcement will monitor every single one of his electronic devices going forward. His phone, his computer, his accounts, all of it under federal watch. Ask yourself why investigators would maintain that level of surveillance on a man they believed had zero connection to the real disappearance. Federal prosecutors made a public statement after his release. They said their office and the FBI would continue holding people accountable. Not just this person. Anyone who tries to interfere with their investigation. Anyone who tries to profit from a grieving family's pain. That statement was not just about Derek Kalla. If you want to follow every development on this case the moment it breaks, subscribe right now. We are not done with this story. Think about what that surveillance means. Every search, every message, every contact. The FBI is watching because they believe there is still something worth watching for. Drop this in the comments. He pleaded not guilty. He was released under federal monitoring with his devices under watch. Does that sound like someone who knew absolutely nothing? Tell me what you think. And while all of this played out in a California courtroom, one fact had not changed at all. Still missing. Strip away the legal language. Strip away the courtroom. Strip away the charges and the VoIP lines and the Bitcoin demands. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. She is 84 years old. She lived in a quiet neighborhood in the Catalina foothills of Tucson. She had a home, a family, a life that was interrupted without warning on February 1st. Her family is still making public appeals. The reward is still active. And somewhere inside those 13,000 tips the FBI received, the answer to this case may already exist. waiting to be matched with the right piece of evidence. The masked figure from that doorbell camera remains unidentified. The original ransom note remains unverified. The investigation remains open. None of that changes who Nancy is. None of that changes what her family is living through every single day. Before you leave, tell me in the comments, what do you think happened to Nancy Guthrie? This is not speculation for entertainment. This is a real case, a real family, and a real conversation that matters. If this case matters to you, share this video right now. Her family needs her name in front of as many people as possible. The FBI tip line is linked in the description. One detail from one person could change everything. Nancy Guthrie deserves to come home.